So it wasn't quite the result we thought of. It wasn't quite the day that women's cricket thought of. But here we are. India's fairy tale run at the World T20 unfortunately has come to an end. But they can hold their heads up high for an absolutely stellar performance. Thanks for joining us here, this special broadcast. I'm Vanitha Vihar.
Very good morning. I am Afrida Rahman Ali, and of course we have on the show Jaya Sharma, former cricketer, and also Vanitha Vihar, Indian cricketer, joining us. We'll talk about the tournament and India's performance during the tournament, various other highlights. Like Viren said, there are quite a few things to talk about, even though the team may not be in the reckoning anymore. Right.
Let's go to you straight, Jaya. I know this was a match that that was difficult. There was no doubt about it. This was a chance to avenge 2017. That wasn't to happen. Where did India sort of fall short today?
Yes, of course. This is one thing that when we talked about earlier. I think it kind of a jinx. So it turned out to be so. The way we have performed, I think England have outbeaten us in all the department, although we were doing pretty well in the league stage. But the performance counts when it matters the most. So I guess we failed miserably there.
Yeah, so let's also bring Vanitha in now. Vanitha, you've shared the dressing room with a lot of these players very recently. You know them really well. A majority of these guys, it just seemed. What, in your opinion, went wrong? Because it's not that we lack the talent, because we've shown plenty, right from 2014 right up to now, that we've got plenty of talent and more in our cricketing reserves to go and beat any team in the world. We've proved that. What, in your opinion, was the one area perhaps that we fell short?
See, first of all, I'm baffled with the kind of selection that they picked up before a big game. I don't know why we had to really go without a big star, and for the fact that it's a big game. Firstly, I'm baffled with that. And secondly, for the fact that, okay, fine, Mithali is not playing in the 11. So what is that you're going to go about? How are you going to plan your, what is your plan B? What is your strategy there? I really fail to understand that part. And I also felt that we were only sticking to plan A. We never executed another way to score runs. Okay, the wicket wasn't conducive for stroke making, but what is that we could have done better? And if you look at it, the way our middle order collapsed, it's very sad to see that state on a big event like this, that we never really utilized that kind of a platform where we actually had a good start, if you look at it. But from there on, we failed to capitalize that. And definitely it is to do with the kind of approach, and I was really not happy with the way how girls applied themselves today. To be very honest, I felt they were slacking a bit. They were not right up to the mark, because on a big game like this, you cannot really afford to make errors. And this has been happening time and again, right from the Asia Cup. If you look at it, we've been making errors.
Right.
And
Vanitha,
that's
you mentioned something about the
much.
selection process, and you said you're not exactly happy with the way the decisions were taken. Jaya, would you also agree with that? Because we heard Harmanpreet Kaur, after the game saying some decisions have to be taken, some changes have to be made. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yes, definitely. When you go for a big match, you have a strategy in plan. So I'm not very sure about the status of the injury Mithali was carrying, and she couldn't play the last game. So I'm unable to comment on that, because we don't know the status on her fitness. But definitely she is part of she is very much an instrumental part of the team. So I think if we lost her, just she wasn't well, or she wasn't there on the fitness mark, match prepared. So I think we had a big loss in that. And of course, as Vanitha rightly said, that there has to be a strategy in place. You have a plan A and plan B. But I failed to see even plan A executed rightly today. Because we lost 8 wickets for just 23 runs. And now history is repeating itself. That happens in 2017 as well. We lost good amount of wickets for few runs. So I think, and on the contrary, the England batters make that pitch look so good and easy. They were comfortably batting, and they showed that it was conducive for playing on scoring runs. Yes, it was not conducive for stroke play, but yes, it was conducive for singles, twos, and boundaries.
Absolutely, and I want to touch upon that. You spoke about Mithali Raj. You just have an update from the Indian captain. So, what Harmanpreet Kaur actually said, because even the commentators were baffled by the fact that Mithali Raj wasn't playing. So, Vanitha, as I ask you this question, what Harmanpreet says is that we had a winning combination. And we didn't want to alter that winning combination. Was a trick lost there because you're going into one of the biggest matches of your career, and you don't have someone of the monumental presence and the monumental experience that Mithali Raj brings you, not just as a batter, but somebody who's seen it all.
See, if you look at it, the winning combination against the Pakistan was also a tremendous under pressure game, and Mithali pulled it up for us pretty much easily. See, it's not about the winning combination. I feel we didn't strike the combination right this time, and this has backfired us. See, if you look at it, if you dig deep down the line, if you go through the batting lineup and the way how we piled up the runs, it's only the top 2 or 3 who's been constantly doing pretty well for us, and not many occasions, the top 2 or 3 will always succeed and fire. And in that top 2 or 3 this time, Mithali was missing in the list. So I felt that pretty much did make a difference there. And also for the fact that on a big game like this, Mithali being on the field around would have probably helped Harman with the inputs, because I felt absolutely we'd just given up the game right from the ball one. And I didn't see any effort from the girls. And on a big game like this, on a big occasion like this, I feel a big player, you just need them around, probably for the inputs, or even otherwise also, that will make huge difference. Even the girls, that would have rubbed on to the team pretty much.
Vanitha, I understand. I mean, there have been disappointments. Of course, the hopes were high, particularly because, like you said, in the 2017 match was looming large in everybody's minds, and it felt as if the girls are out there to exact revenge this time around and will undo the wrong that happened in that year. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But let's also talk about the journey of the Indian women's team, like starting from 2014. Jaya, would you like to talk about how the team has evolved, how it has become more aggressive, how today we have these big names, these sporting icons that the aspiring women cricketers can look up to?
Yeah,
yes,
definitely. See,
it's
Jaya first and then Vanitha.
I mean, the kind of talent.
Down. We're just trying to.
Yes, Jaya, go ahead first and then Vanitha.
Yeah, to start with, we never had a scarcity of talent in India. And I very much believe that is, we have a very large talent pool. But, there is something which is lacking, that is the work on the grassroots level. So we have to have a wider pool of talent. And when it comes to the current Indian team, I think they were picking up well. They are enthusiastic team. They are a mix of somehow experienced and young players. But I think there's a plan, and there's another part that's called execution. So I think we have come to a point where we have a plan, and we have been doing it right through the league stages. But the detrimental factor was absorbing that pressure of the big game. As I mentioned yesterday as well, they need to take it as another game. And that was clearly seen on the way they were performing, and the way most of the time, the way they were batting. So that was seen that they were kind of out of their comfort zones.
Right, Vanitha, also your word on the fact that, the fact that we are also looking at celebrating the fact that the Indian women's cricket team has reached this level at the global stage, where today, Viren, it is among the top teams in women's cricket, isn't it? There's lots to celebrate and cheer about as well. Vanitha, would you agree?
Definitely, if you look at the kind of cricket we've been playing right from, I think we set the momentum right from the Sri Lanka series before this series. See, the girls have been shaping up really well. If you look at it, the bowling unit has excelled really well. But only department, what I would say was we were pretty, sloppy on the field. But otherwise, there have been a lot of positives on a larger picture, the team has been shaping up really when it's a mix of youth and experience, and also there are young girls, who are just striving hard to excel at the big platform. The kind of cricket it was 4 years back to now. If you look at the Bangladesh World Cup to now, there is huge difference. There's completely, I would say 75%, it's a new team. From there to now, there is big difference.
Yes.
But again, time and again, we've been collapsing at a big event like this. So how long can we go on like this? That's the only concern. And no doubt about that, the journey has been so far, it's good. But you don't get this platform time and again for you to, you don't get these chances again and again to just prove. And I feel on such an occasion where, the entire nation is watching, where you're battling for your place, where you're battling for equal rights here in a country like this, when the entire nation is supporting, that's the time where we have to try and pull ourselves up and, try and show a better character on the field and try and reflect that to the entire nation. I think we missed it out on that today.
I agree, and but let's also remember here that that we need to shine a light on these performances, because ultimately, what have we been talking about for the longest time, which is that not enough attention is paid to women's cricket, Jaya. And in your career, you would have felt this as well. I'm sure at the start of Vanitha's career as well, she would have experienced this, that there wasn't genuinely any attention, whether it be from the cricket board, whether it be for lack of funds or otherwise. There wasn't the attention, people weren't talking about it. But, it's the job of the media, it's the job of everyone to sort of, be pulling in that direction, because we need to shine a light. If we want to be a better cricketing nation, if we want to have a better women's cricketing team, we need to sort of put our shoulders together and sort of get to the wheel, because that's the only way this is going to work.
Yes, Viren, you rightly said that there are some positives, there are some pros and cons which are there. To start with, BCCI doing a tremendous job on their part to provide with the infrastructure, facilities, monetary benefits. And now the cricketers, the players can work on themselves. They can hire a trainer, they can hire a coach, and that's how competing at an elite level always have. You have to step up to the occasion and deliver. So that's where I particularly would like to mention here is that I am personally involved in a project which is based on the mind conditioning aspect of the sport. So if I talk about all sports in India, that's where we lacking, and that's the point we don't ever look at. It is very underrated. But if you look at the foreign teams, have that much talent, but they know the execution part so well, and they are so much. They can adapt to pressure, they can absorb pressure and step up to the big occasions.
And since we are talking about the positives, Viren, and we are also running those graphics about India's dream run, let's not forget that this has been a tournament where India has finished unbeaten in the group stage with wins over New Zealand and Australia, and of course beaten England also in the warm-up match. So let's not take that away. But talking about the performances, Vanitha, let's talk about also the Anya Shrubsole, for instance, or Jemima Rodrigues. Where would you rate the performance of these individual players? Vanitha, can we talk about some of these women who have showed talent, who have proven their mettle, and also if we can talk a little bit about the bowling side as well, the contribution of Anya Shrubsole, the potential that she has.
See, no doubt, England have been single-handedly. Especially Shrubsole has been just running through sides. If you look at her previous last couple of games, she's just single-handedly won the game for England's side. And they are a quality bowlers. They are a very young side again. Especially the two left-arm spinners. One is an 18-year-old and another is she just made a debut today. And the kind of quality bowlers, on this big platform. Actually, if you look at it overall throughout the tournament, teams have adapted really well. Usually these foreign teams, they rely a lot on their pace bowling. But this time around, you can see a lot of finger spinners, doing the trick for the teams. I think the adaptability part has been fantastic overall by the women cricketers all over the country. It's not just the Indians, but all over. But especially England side used to be only with the medium paces used to operate. But today you see both ends. They have quality spin bowlers. Even Ethernet coming and swinging an arm over. I think overall they're getting it right now in terms of their planning, in terms of their strategies. I think they're picking it up pretty well. On the other side, Indian bowling unit as well. We cannot just forget the fact that what Poonam Yadav has done for a country from the last 4 years, she's been fabulous. You look at her numbers, she's been right on top, and she's sitting pretty much as a number 2 bowler. And we shouldn't forget the fact that we're talking a lot about the batters, but it's very sad that the bowlers don't get the maximum the batters usually get. And today, if you look at it, Poonam Yadav has done the trick for us. If a collapse in batting has been, and the way how they have played, like especially on a New Zealand game, and even the Pakistan and even Australia game, I think Poonam Yadav was just making the batters sit in pretty much uncomfortable zone, and also nicely supported by on the field. So, if you look at it overall, there have been a lot of positives, especially on the bowling unit. I can say there's been a lot of positive on this tournament. And I hope to see a lot more.
I have to interrupt you there, Vanitha, but I promise you this, that we will talk about India's spinners because they have been doing an absolutely stellar job. That's coming up a little just after this break, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, we continue our special look at the women's team at this World T20. And as promised, we'll talk about India's spinners. And I still got with me Jaya Sharma and Vanitha. As I promised, the spinners are the talk of the moment. We're not talk about anything else for the next couple of minutes. Jaya, to you first, because let's talk about this Agra story. Now, it's truly fascinating that we've got 3 spinners in this Indian team who played today, who played the previous match as well, who hail from one city. Who are leading India's spin attack. Vanitha Yadav, of course, the newer one of the lot, but boy, are these some fantastic spinners. And I just want to understand, how rare is it to have 3 spinners of that quality coming out from one town that's very, very passionate, you have to say, about cricket?
Yes, Viren, it happens, and I have been seeing this in quite a lot in my whole career, as I've seen some wonderful spinners, some world-class bowlers, Neetu David, many more from Agra itself. I mean, they were left-arm spinners. It's something. It's something has to be about the culture there. So there you produce a lot of left-arm spinners and quality spinners, I would say, because it's kind of a talent hotbed for spinners. This is the prime area. Like if we talk about football, men football, we have so many players coming from Brazil. So there's a reason behind it. So that is how the culture is set, where we are finding so many quality spinners in the coming into the Indian team from a particular place and district. Sorry.
Before we let the two of you go, Vanitha, one final word on, how we, of course, talking about individual players and the kind of performance they did. Jemimah Rodrigues has also made news for the fact that she's a teenager, an 18-year-old. Can we also throw some light? Can you talk about you yourself being a cricketer? What would you say about the team and the fact that these young women today are out there playing at the global stage?
I love the way they're showing their intent, especially the youngsters, Jemimah, Tanya Bhatia, Radha Yadav, Deepti Sharma, and also Amalata being pretty good on the field. These are the youngsters which has been constantly backed by the team management, which is a very good sign, because they are the future if you look down the line, because they are 18, 19, 20, 21. So, for the fact that they are going to be the future, you're already seeing some lightning performances by these youngsters on the team, and which is a very good thing. People back home, people here, they will definitely look up to these youngsters to definitely take the sport as a career. career, and they are trying to be the youth icon for us, which is pretty much needed at this point in time, because sport cricket specific in India, especially women playing in India is still a little, people feel that okay, are we really in the right track? But I think players like this, players like them coming up and performing well at this platform, I think that definitely sets the tone for rest of the country here, and to take up the sport, definitely it does. They are setting as a youth icon for a country right now.
Right, Jaya, Yadav and Vanitha, thanks so much for speaking to us, and thanks for joining us in this special edition. Let's not forget, it's been an absolutely stellar journey. Yes, one match and India lost out, but there's plenty to look forward to. With talent in the ranks, there's no reason why women's cricket can't be on top. My thanks to all of you for joining us in this special edition. Stay tuned to Mirror now.